sometimes I like the idea of wearing the red tie, because passionate, love, and strength, right? Sometimes the blue is good because it's a little calm color. It's uh, cool and but good, looks good. Of course, the gold can be good because it's kind of like go for the gold, right? You got heart of gold, you know. Um, Kind of makes me think about, um, well, yeah, it's kind of a color of champions, isn't it? This was good because it doesn't jump out too much at you. It's kind of quiet, but it makes a statement at the same time. It's kind of a formal looking tie. And it looked great in the evening with you know, if I was married or had a girlfriend or something with a perfect dress to go along with it, then this would be very good. Well, it's a good tie anyways. But so this one's good. This is another good tie. First tie I put one of the times I put this on. Maybe I'm not supposed to say this, but I put this on and I was looking at myself. I was looking and I went, hey, you kind of look presidential on that tie. Neat thing about it is this tie is TLC, which is kind of neat because that's like the abbreviation for tender love and care. That's what a good president should be, right? He should feel like like he loves everybody. Right? Of course, then there's the pink tie, right? And it's again kind of a formal looking tie. When I think about somebody wearing a pink tie, I think about I think, man, I could marry a beautiful woman wearing this tie. And they say, love is red is the color of love, but kind of pink is too, I guess. I guess kind of gold is, and blue, because So I guess all the colors could kind of be, they can all kind of say love to us, right? um, maybe that's what a president should think anytime he puts on a tie. This color is love this way, or this color is love that way, or this color is love, you know. So I was thinking about, what kind of tie do I want to wear? And I thought, well, I'll just kind of start putting all of put a bunch of them on. To talk to you about some things. Yeah, I'd like to be president. I'd like to be president. I've been watching more and more videos about presidents, especially I've been watching a lot of videos about President Obama, and I wouldn't necessarily call myself a Democrat, but I wouldn't call myself a Republican either. And I don't know if I'd even say that I was a blend of both of them. I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of more libertarian, but I have some of the value. I think I got the best values of all of them. um, I would say that I feel very strongly about having small government, which is kind of supposed to be a Republican platform or thing that they talk about, but of course we know that they haven't been small government for a long time. I'm also, actually, it's not so much that I'm small government, is that I'm small government in the fact of interference with people's lives. There should be no interference with people's lives. And that's what's interfere, right? We don't want to interfere into people's lives. And the government has been doing that a lot, with all this TSA stuff and having people scared about terrorists and stuff like that. We go to every day. We go out and we do our lives, and we don't fear terrorists other than maybe the government, But we shouldn't be fearing our own government. People don't. We don't go to work thinking about terrorists or come home thinking about terrorists. So you sit in front of the television, then people might think about terrorists because they turn on the evening news, and the evening news, we know what that's for, right? I mean, it's 25 minutes of terribleness and 5 minutes of good stuff at the end. If they give you even 5 minutes anymore. I kind of stopped watching the news because, it was like, man, it's all bad. It's just, until you get like the last, well, I guess it kind of felt more like it would be more like 1 minute of good stuff and 29 minutes of sad stuff. And I kind of think we should have better news programs. But I say I would like to be president, and that's true. I'm not a religious guy, but I am a spiritual guy, and I can't say whether or not that I feel like the Bible is actually a historical true thing, but then again, it's very possible that it is. Of course, it's possible also that other people could have put stuff into the Bible. Wouldn't be unheard of, people adding stuff. I mean, people add stuff to the Bible all the time, and they say they put it in italics, but, at some time, they may have, years ago, they may have added a bunch of stuff, maybe during the Council of Nicaea. Who knows? But Jesus was kind of a very small government guy. He was also very pro-life. But he was also feed the people, right? In other words, not fed, not F-E-D, feed. In other words, take care of the people. The idea wasn't so much just, give a bunch of people food. It was love people, right? And love was free. And that's kind of what he was doing. He was loving, I think the story is 5,000 people. And he did that free because they were there, because they wanted to hear a message of love and hope and goodness. And that's what a president's supposed to be. See, I'd like to be more than a president. I'd like to be a savior. Now, how would the savior be a savior? Now, in the story of Jesus came and is supposed to be God on earth, and he told people, hey, I'm the savior, or people said he was the savior, and other people said, no, you're not. And they weren't very nice to him, they were mean to him, they did all kinds of things. Or they just ignored him altogether. Now, that could be, I've said ignorance is bliss, but I think sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. It's just, but here's the thing. There were some people that, for some people, while Jesus was, if the story is true, while Jesus was on the earth, for some people he was the savior. For other people he wasn't. What was the difference? Faith. Who had faith in it? So, if I want to be your president or want to be your savior, the difference is you have to decide whether or not to have faith in me. Now, why would you have faith in me? Now, I made a video the other day that says, why would I want to represent a country or even a world with people that don't actually care for each other? But that's not necessarily true. People do care for each other, but we've let things get in the way. Like, for instance, we have things like they have what's called eviction, where if a family has fallen on hard times, or a person has fallen on hard times, or been laid, we say hard times, and maybe that's the right word for it. That's a sad thing. We should be wanting to help those people, not kick them out into the street. We should be a family, right? Because if you believe the story of Jesus, then God created everybody, and if God created everybody, that makes everybody family. So yeah, I would like to be the president. I would like to be your savior. You'd have to have faith in me. You have to have faith in me. you have to say, well, maybe the Savior was born again, right? You know, maybe Jesus believed in reincarnation. That's why he said people had to be born again, right? And of the water and the Spirit, right? Well, we enter the Spirit and we're born, you know, and what happens in our mothers, you know, we're born of the water, right? um, and, you know, Jesus says, one time I think he said, you have to be born again. And people said, what, am I going to enter, you know, into my mother's womb? And he says, marvel not. In other words, he was saying, you know, why would you think that's such a big thing? You think when you die that your spirit is done? Of course not. Maybe we keep wanting to come back. That's why we have kids, right? Because we feel like there's something very good as you know, about us, and so we want to extend that into the future, and so we have children, and we hope our children are better. Sometimes, or sometimes we might hope they're as good as us, and then wish them even better. But is it supposed to end there, or when we leave this body, you know, does our spirit go, hey, you know, I'd like to keep trying to make the world a better place? That's what I'm thinking we should do. Now, I've talked to a lot of people about some of the ideas that I have, and they say, wow, in a perfect world, that's how it would work. Well, my idea is let's make a perfect world, because my ideas make a perfect world. I think a lot of people have ideas that would make a perfect world. You know, it's going to take some faith in it. We're going to have to change some things. We've been doing some of the same things for 250 years and expecting a different result. Now, you know, we say if you do the same thing over and over again and you expect a different result, that's the definition of insanity, or not being sane, or, you know. Well, my thought is, let's kind of do some things that are very different. You know, we have this immigration thing where now they're talking about spending billions of dollars on a wall to keep people from coming here. Well, first of all, they're our family. Second of all, instead of build up a wall, why don't we tear down the wall that's there? And instead of telling people they're not welcome, that we don't love them, let's say, you know what, we do love you, and your family is where you live. So here's what we're going to do. Instead of spending billions of dollars to build a wall between us, let's think about united, you know, we stand. And what we're going to do is, instead of spending billions of dollars to do the wall, we're going to help you build cities and towns and businesses and things like that, manufacturing and all this kind of stuff. We're going to help you build stuff so that you can stay, you know, if you want to stay there with your family, you'll be able to take care and support your families. But if you want to come live here, if you've thought about, oh, you've seen pictures of a certain place or area in our country or something like that, and you want to come here, we're welcome you here. That's what the Statue of Liberty says, right? And we will welcome you here. And just the same way as we have people that like to go live in Mexico, and we have people that like to go live in Europe and go backpacking across the country, because the world is our planet. And what we have to do is just plan it better. Instead of all this division, we multiply love instead of you know, this division of you stay over there and you stay over there. Well, you can come over here, but only for a little while. If you have this, hey, no, I'm saying we need to improve our immigration policy by kind of just chucking it out the window and saying, you know, we're all here together, whether it's a big ball or a flat plane, whatever you believe, we're all here together. So we ought to be looking to discover the ways to make this the most happy experience ever. And if you do believe in God, if you believe in Savior, or a Redeemer, or a Messiah that's going to come to earth and save everybody, I got a great idea. Why don't we show them that we're worth it? Right? Why don't we say, you know what, we're going to create heaven so that when God gets here, that he comes to heaven on earth. I can give you that. What if God was born the same way he was the last time he was here? And what if God is already here? And He just needs people to have faith in him. Except this time, he'd like to have everybody have faith in him instead of just a small group of people. You know? That's some of my thoughts. So what about education? Well, I think we should change that, like almost make it a whole brand new thing. Kids should be encouraged to go to study the things that they're passionate about. And we can see that when you watch like YouTube videos of kids that are prodigy painters or musicians or mathematicians or different things. The parents notice that the kids had a propensity for something or a proficiency for something, and they encourage it. Our education systems should do the same thing. We've missed how many geniuses have we missed because we didn't encourage what they had a desire for or passion about. And yeah, I know that changes a lot for kids, especially when they're kids, right? But it changes for adults too. Sometimes we feel like, hey, well, I've done this for a while, but I've really also had interest in this kind of thing. That's okay. We let people do what it is that they love to do, because the quality of what you love to do is much better than what it is than doing things that you don't love. But I think most people I think everybody has different types of work that they love. And we got to encourage people to do those things, because then work feels more like fun. And work should be fun. And then we, the idea of making kids worry, whether or not they're going to be able to go to school, to go to college and things like that. We should make it so that it's not a worry. Everybody should be able to do get the kind of education for the type of school that they want to do. And imagine this, okay, we've got all these teachers, right? Some of them are, they go in and they're excited about being teaching. And then you talk to them 5 or 10, years after they've been teaching, and you see that the joy is gone from them, because they were given a specific curriculum that had to be taught a specific way, and they couldn't vary, much from it. And maybe they were teaching something that they weren't really passionate about, but that was a teaching position that was available at the time, and so they took that because they needed to have a job. Well, what if we did it different? What if we said, what, you've got a passion for this thing, okay? These kids all have a passion for the same thing, and let them go to school in the same classroom. What would that classroom look like? And what if you talk to a teacher after 20, 25, 30 years of teaching, and you go, why haven't you, don't you want to retire yet? She goes, oh, I'm not tired in the first place. I'm having too much fun. Right? So that's, that's some of the things that we can do with education. What about some things that presidents or haven't talked about, but saviors have, is our kind of like setting our moral compass right. Okay, we have very talented musicians and artists out there that maybe because of the world they grew up in, where they weren't encouraged to pursue some of their passions or something like that, or they lived in experiences that were unfair. Very talented artists are creating music and art that is a detriment to the human soul and spirit. So my idea is that we encourage people to make the kind of music that they love and that they enjoy, and we encourage and support people who give us music that helps us be the best that we can be, the best of what what our possibilities are. Right? Now, what are some of the other things we can do? You know, we have all these. You know, our roads are not in the best conditions, and in other countries, you know, they build roads and they make them. They very specifically spend great amount of time and energy, and they put as much money into the aesthetic beauty of their roads and bridges and things like that as they do the actual building. And sometimes they put even more energy into the aesthetic beauty of it than they do in the construction of it. Why? Well, not that they you know, not that they don't give it the same building quality that anywhere else does, or that even the best do, but they also say, you know what, it shouldn't just be a functional thing, it should also be a beautiful thing, and we should do that everywhere. One of the things that makes me think I would be a very good president and a very great, perfect kind of savior is I'm very good at making things beautiful. And I like golf. Now you would say, well, what does that have to do with being president? Yeah, well, a lot of presidents play golf. But it's more than that. When they design golf clubs, there's a lot of technical design work that goes into building a golf club. Now, what is the best golf club? How is the best golf club designed? With the most forgiveness. It allows the ball to perform better. It allows your swing to perform better. It allows you to have a better game. Right? It allows you to do the very best, the more forgiving the golf club is. We should be more forgiving of each other. Right? And we'll get better performance. You know, that's part of what we can do with our justice system, is we can learn to be more forgiving. And another thing I think we need to do, you know, you got to say, you know, God bless police for some of them wanting to be police, that have a real desire that they want to go out and they want to help people. They want to do good things, right? But what has happened is we've given them this a utility belt that's filled with weapons of slavery, with chains and guns and electrocution devices and chemical sprays. You know, it's warfare, chemical warfare, and electrocution of the people, and it's become war against the people. And we shouldn't be making our own people prisoners if we can avoid that. We should do everything we can to not have war with our own people and make them prisoners. And the best way I think to do that is to change the idea of what the policing system is, right? And instead of making it a thing of punishment, we have police. Maybe we even give them a new name. I don't know, but we have police that instead of our reactors waiting to explode quite too often, instead be problem solvers and mediators. So where if there's a problem, they go in and they help solve the problem, rather than just saying, okay, let's not show these people any love, and instead let's chain them up and put them in a cage. That hasn't worked. It hasn't worked for thousands of years. It didn't. It certainly didn't do Jesus Christ any good. But they did it to him anyways. Why? Because the system that they were operating on, the same thing we're doing that we've been doing, or that we were doing, is it doesn't work for people. It doesn't do us any good. Love is what fixes things, not a lack of love. So, we could start by de-weaponizing the police, right? Could we talk about de-weaponizing stuff around the world, so that there isn't war? Well, we should do that with our own people. And we should do, now you really have, now to be a police, you really have to kind of maybe be brave for a little while. But that's okay, because we need some really good men that are really brave, and women, to do that job. Instead of men and women that are out there in fear for their life all the time, with their hands next to their guns or on their tasers, and ready to put people in chains. We don't. This has not worked, okay? And building all these prisons and stuff, it just makes our land look ugly, right? We have more people in jails and prisons per capita than anywhere in the world. That should tell us we're not doing something right. That should tell us we're doing something that is unloving. And maybe right's not the right word, but we're if we've got more people in jails and prisons than per population or per capita than any other country in the world, including North Korea, then that should say that we need to up our level of love, and start working to solve problems. If somebody goes to a grocery store and, my mom told me a story once. She told me a story about a guy that stole a loaf of bread, and they put him in jail for some long period of time. And what I'm saying is, if somebody has that kind of need, rather than doing, first thing we should do is have police that go there and say, hey, you know what? Okay, this guy was taking a loaf of bread, and that guy, this guy is saying, we're mad at him. Instead of doing that, is there something that this person can do that, right? And then maybe what happens eventually is society changes to where people, when they have a need, don't feel like they have to steal. They can go to someone and say, hey, I have this need. But I got even a better idea than that. We can actually start making it to where people don't have needs where they feel like they have to take from other people. Because, in this country, we're supposed to believe in something called equality, and I think we should do that. Now, people said, right now we value people's jobs differently. A physician might get paid, this $200,000 a year, and a janitor makes $22,000 a year. But a good janitor might make the school kids real happy, which keeps them from going to the doctor. So that makes him kind of like a doctor, right? And then maybe he keeps the school clean, and so that keeps the kids from needing to go to the doctor. So that makes him kind of like a doctor, right? And so these people have their value to everybody is the same. Okay? It could be a garbage man, a truck driver, a gardener, a guy that builds or designs cars, a person that works in a factory putting cars together. People have all kinds of different things that they're good at, or they feel a propensity for, or they feel a calling to, right? Like they're supposed to do that. Maybe not all their life, sometimes all their life, and sometimes they feel like, this is what I'm supposed to do now, and then after they've done that, then they feel like, I've also had this other thing that I felt like I'm supposed to do, and so, and we encourage that. Why? Because if people feel like they're doing what they want to do, what they love to do, and what they're supposed to do, you don't have to talk them into it. And you don't have to worry about working with people that aren't happy, because everybody's happy to be at work. Because they get to do what they want, they enjoy what they love, and what they feel they have a passion for, and what contributes to the world and other people. This is how we change the world. This is how we save each other, right? And this is how we save the planet. We just got to plan it better. Now, there might be some people in power with lots and lots of money that don't want to see a change in the way that we work our economic system and our educational system and stuff, because they want, a bunch of obedient workers who do what what they're told and that kind of stuff. But here's the thing. For those people, I would say, first of all, Money doesn't buy everybody happiness, because I'm sure you've had days where you're really very sad. What gives people happiness is the opportunity to love and feel loved. And the best way to have that and never have a shortage of it is to make sure everybody feels that way. Then we have no parts of the country where you feel unsafe, because every part of the country is beautiful. There's no bad parts of town, it's all good parts of town. Why? Because we love equality. Equality is, I'm going to be a little silly with this. Equality. Equality, right? Now, E is the fifth letter of the alphabet. And there's a movie called The Fifth Element. So now here's your E again, right? Now, Fifth Elements. Maybe we should call it Fifth Elements. Now, in that movie, there's a lot of fighting and stuff, but what fixed everything was not the fighting. The fighting didn't fix everything. Matter of fact, we know that. We know fighting is the opposite of peace, right? So, what fixed everything? Well, at the end of the movie, one thing did. It was love. The fifth element was love, right? And so I think we should be a world of fifth elements, right? You know, whether you'd want me to be your president, or whether you'd want somebody else to be your president, I would want you to have somebody that loves everybody, and that thinks of you know. I would hope the president would feel something like this, because I think if you want to be president, you should feel like you have some of the best qualities for that. Now, I like to think that most a person that wants to be your president should, or savior, should feel like they have the best qualities for it. Sometimes I talk about my family. I'm talking about my immediate family. But every time I talk about my immediate family and I use the word, my family, my thought immediately goes to 7 billion people. We're taught to think about our family as our immediate family. But every time I say that, I feel like I don't want what I don't want is the feeling that I don't want, what's the best way to say this? 7 billion people shouldn't feel that I don't think about them as my family. They should feel like that I'm including them as part of that. And being the president of the United States is more than, I think, being president of the United States, because you're also there for everybody. And that the president should want to be your savior. Because I've seen the very best that people have in here. And I've seen the good that people want to do. But we've limited ourselves, and we've taught our children to see other people as other people and not family. When I was young, they gave me something called Army Men. They're little toys, right? And I used to play with my friends, and we'd imagine war and people shooting each other and blowing things up and things like that. And I like to think that maybe sometimes we didn't use them that way. I'd like to think that sometimes we just used them, played with them in a different, I don't know. But I think that's not the kind of toy that we should be giving our kids. I don't think we should be giving our kids toys that have them encourage their. You want your kids? I mean, do we want our kids to have Do we want them using their imagination to imagine war and people shooting and killing each other? I think that's not the best way to encourage our kids to use their imagination. We don't want to imagine themselves as destroyers, rather creators. We're all creators. It's what we choose to create. Are we going to create destruction, or are we going to create beauty? I'm very good at creating beauty. I'm very good at making beauty, I should say, or making things beautiful. And I think everybody has that ability. So these are some of the ideas that I have, and that's why I think I should be president. I need a wife, though. The president's got to have first lady, right? Yeah, I need. I very much like to have a wife. So, presidents have to have something to do after they're not presidents. Although, president after I might be good at it for a long time, but I also like to have a campground. I like to be able to design a campground and do that too. That'd be lots of fun, right? And I've got some great ideas for this land, but I'm about to lose it because my folks are going to let somebody else buy it, and I don't have the money for it right now, or at least I'm not aware that if I had the money for it, maybe I have a trust fund somewhere nobody's told me about. And I'm not, this, I've had a business, but I mean, my heart's in the what the business does, but it's not in the business part of the business. Like I really don't want to make people. Well, that's the wrong way to say that. I'm not so much the accountant guy. I'm more the let me be the guy that loves you. Let me do that part. And I'm good. I'd be good at putting together a team and stuff like that. And my wives will tell you, I'm real good with a cabinet, and that's kind of play on words. But I think I've been groomed to be president. I think I've been put through a test to see that if I would stop loving people. Now, there's times that I felt angry because, people have ignored me. My family has pretty much abandoned me and shunned me, and it doesn't change the fact that I love them. I love them very much. I might love them now more than I ever have. And that's something because they haven't been the kindest people to me. But my son Jeffrey, he's from what I understand, he's at least been saying some nice things, and so that's good. That's my video. I love you, and 2020, yeah. Anything's possible, I guess. And if anybody's watching this video, maybe they could come up with a GoFundMe page, because if they don't let me be savior or president, I'd like to have a campground, but I don't know how to do all this GoFundMe stuff, and the computer thing is just it's not so much me. I like to do every once in a while, I like to design some stuff on there and stuff, but trying to figure out internet marketing and all that kind of stuff is not my thing. And it's just rather than trying to sell people on the idea that I love them, I just like to be able to be the guy that is able to love me. So, but I'm figuring out how to be able to do that without, because I go to the gas station, they need money at the gas station, or they say they do, and you go to, someplace to get something to eat, and they want money, and so you gotta have money. But I just think there's a better way we can do some of this. So I've got a bunch of great ideas, and boy, it should be a lot of fun. We could have lots of fun making our country a beautiful place, and kind of giving some new life to this idea of equality, and instead of having it be the American dream, we could be the American life, right? Where we actually where we're actually living the dream. It's not just a dream, it's that a bunch of people don't ever get to experience. Instead, we can make it where everybody gets to live, feel like, what our kids should think when they get here to Earth, right? They should think that they were born into heaven. That's what they should think. And that should be true. It's our planet. We just got to plan it better. Love you.
Just back from Finland. Okay, so let's go this way. And go this way.
Oh wow! Look what you did. That is so cool.
Okay.
Oh wow! Hey, this is cool.
This looks awesome. Look at the plants hanging.
Wow.
And we got an umbrella on the table.
Cool. I like that. Look at all of this. Wow, you've been working. Oh, look at this. Well, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I like the rocks around that.
There's just no end of what am I missing? Look at this stuff. This looks really nice.
Yes.
We can have a party. Is it my party time? Wait a minute.
This is really cool.
Wait a long time on this.
I wouldn't call it slaving.